Hi everyone! In this video, I'll guide you through making a basic two-point constraint limb that simulates IK, allowing for more intuitive control over the arm. I'll also show you how it works. Right now, I have a simple arm separated into 4 parts: the arm, the forearm, the elbow, and the wrist. Let's start by creating a two-point constraint and connecting it between the arm and the elbow. As you can see, it works, but the arm is squashing and stretching, which isn't what we want. To fix that, we need to set the volume modifier to 0. This will stop the deformation. Let's also check Ignore 3D Transform to avoid Z-depth overlapping issues. Also, set the distance max to 100. This gives the arm a limit, so it doesn't stretch beyond its original size. If you leave distance max at 0, you'll get a very stretchy limb, which might be useful in some cases. Now, we can duplicate this constraint and connect it between the elbow and the wrist. By selecting the constraint nodes and enabling show controls, we can see how they work. To have the elbow follow the arm movement, let's add another two-point constraint on top of everything. First, I'll disconnect the wrist from the forearm, then I'll connect this new constraint to the wrist and the arm, and back to the elbow, like so. For this constraint, select Ignore 3D Transform again, but leave the volume modifier as it is. To better demonstrate how this works, I'm going to add a rectangle shape on top of everything and connect it to the constraint. You can see how it's squashing along with the arm. Finally, we need to add a transform limit. Enable show controls, move its pivot point to be around the elbow, and then change scale and skew values to 0. And there, it works. A more detailed explanation. The elbow peg receives its position relative to the limit pivot point, which is affected by the two-point constraint. But the node settings prevent squashing or deformation from affecting the following nodes, leaving only position information to be passed down. If you are using Harmony 22 or higher, you can add an OGL controller to select the elbow peg and wrist position directly for easy manipulation. This setup doesn't affect your ability to move different parts in Z-space, and the deformers still work correctly. Just be careful about squishing the arm too much, as it can make the lines look thin in one direction. Right now, my wrist peg isn't attached to anything. I could connect it to the arm peg so it moves together with the arm. Alternatively, I could attach it to the upper body peg. This will allow the arm to move independently from the wrist. We need to connect the force transform input to the upper body peg. Leaving it disconnected will lead to scaling issues with the arm. You can also rig the legs following a similar method. When you move the hips, the legs will react accordingly. To move the upper body along with the hips, you'll need to separate the master peg, one for the body and another one above for the feet and their transform limits. You can adapt this technique to other two-point constraint setups as well. So that's basically it. I hope this was helpful. I'll make more tutorials like this covering two-point constraints and rigging in the future. I recently recorded my process rigging and animating the Gen 3 started Pokemon. Check that out in my channel if you want to see basic cutout rigging and animation. Thanks for watching.